With the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So we call this meeting to order. The only person who's missing, who was ill, is Rebecca Smith. So we remember her hanging in there. Yeah. So I would like to start by looking for a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from August 23rd, 2021. Jim? Mark, I can't hear you.
Second.
Still can't hear you.
Can't hear me at all, or?
I can hear him.
Are you muted?
No. Second, can you hear me?
Nope, still can't.
Can you hear me?
Cindy, I can't hear you either.
Got to be on your end.
Yeah, I can hear Mark.
Oops. It's on. Can you hear me?
Crystal's muted.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Second.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Nope.
No.
Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the regular meeting minutes as written from 8/23/21, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? No, motion carries. All right, at this time, we'll open it up for public comment. I would like to say something in the public comment. I was made aware this weekend that the pavilion bathroom was vandalized. The toilet paper rolls were ripped off the wall. There was graffiti. There was some damage, not terribly expensive damage, about $100 worth, but it has knocked the pavilion bathrooms out of commission, and they will be addressed. I think this just goes to show that it is important that we work on security cameras of some level, because this is just ridiculous, and frankly, I find it outrageous. So.
2 for 2.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So hearing no further public comment, we'll go on to the report of Public Works. So water sewer. Gosh. Sorry about that. Ed provided a report. So we'll start with water. The monthly reports have been provided. Well Pump 2 has been upgraded to a swing check, air cushion, and soft start, which is great. This will go back online sometime this week, and both pumps are now in working order finally. We continue to check chlorine and phosphate throughout the system. No troubles as of yet. As most of the village knows, there was a leak in front of the Rumsey's house, the Rick Rumsey's house on Elm Lake Road. It was repaired at 9/8/21. Part of the reason that it took so long, since it had been leaking for 3 weeks prior, is the fact that the telephone pole was placed in close proximity to the water main, and there were electrical wires as well as internet wires that we had to call National Grid to hold the pole. So bottom line is the leak was eventually fixed, but a Boil Water Act had to be put into effect. That was eventually lifted on Friday after we had 2 consecutive days with a negative total coliform result. So I would like to publicly thank Trustee Rumsey, Leah Towers, Carol Popson for helping me distribute the boil water notifications. And I think it just triggers us to think about a notification system that we can do through our website. So I will have that as another point that we need to explore. Good news is JR has begun taking weekends and has not had any issues picking up normal operations and the routine. And he should be starting soon. Schooling for that. At this time, the vendor pit installation for the pavilion is on hold, as the bathrooms attached to the firehouse are also attached to their meter, and it was determined that installation would be an inappropriate use of funds. At this time, we're gathering data by reading the firehouse 2 times a week to get data on the firehouse usage, and then we'll estimate the usage and bill accordingly. Pressure was cleared at the tank site and well-controlled buildings, and they've resolved issues that have occurred with billing. There have been a number of expenditures through Charlie John, Slack Chemical, etc. They will be repairing the fire hydrant by the motel in the next couple of weeks. That fire hydrant is now available, and they will paint the fire hydrants as well. Any questions on water? No questions. Okay, wastewater, the Speedies and DMR have been completed for July. The outside plant has been taken offline and will be winterized until its use again in the spring. Pump Station 2 had issues again with rags and plugging up of the pumps. They were pulled and removed. This really is a huge issue. As you'll note that on the last water bill, there was a note saying, don't flush wipeable wipes.
Do you think
Not wipe. Sorry.
people are flushing paper in the public bathrooms at all, and that's causing problems?
From what I understand, from what Ed's told me, and it's not just flushable waste, but it's also like feminine products and other types of paper products that may not be easily broken down in the system.
Pump Station 2 is in your neighborhood. So,
on the corner of Black Bear and 30?
correct. I believe that's Pump Station 2, and Pump Station 1 is on the corner of White Birch. Is that right?
I'm not very familiar with.
Yeah, there are two pump stations there. Right. Okay, all pump stations have had their preventative maintenance performed. Biosolid removal from the plant has begun to slow down, so at this point they're waiting for it to dry to move it into storage for removal next year. Land application site was mowed, samples taken so that we would be able to apply the biosolids there. And the wastewater helped DPW with putting blacktop on a road crossing throughout the village. They had a variety of expenditures again. The upgrade project is moving along. If you're over there, they were pouring walls to the new building behind the plant. The new digester tank is out there. The blocks are being laid for the addition. Aqualogics will be here this Friday to review the details of the control upgrade. So they really are making a lot of progress. And on their to-do list, they have the pressure wash pump station 1, apply biosolids to the land application site, and install gates at the land application site. Are there any questions or comments?
Nope.
So it seems to be working well with the 60-40 split of JR's time, and I think they're keeping on top of it, which is great. Okay, clerk treasurer's report.
Just a few things. We have, kind of like an exciting thing. We finished cleaning, or well, the bulk of the organizing in the records room here.
Oh, sure.
There's still quite a few files to go through as far as what's needed to keep for historical value and what is okay to throw away. But for the most part, we have been able to organize the room into 3 sections. One being the general village information and water and sewer files, historical documents, including minutes, old justice files, tax records, and those things. And then the financial side with payroll records and all of that. We have a really big pile of things to shred back there, but that'll be something that we probably plan to do closer into in a couple of months when there's a little bit more downtime.
And just to confirm, we are following the record retention policy that's been set by the state.
Everything that's been either put in the pile anything that's been put in the pile to shred has been documented.
Good.
Even though it's not shredded yet, we've still written it down on a list. And it's been we have the book and the records room
Perfect.
as far as the retention,
Great, thank you.
the state retention policy goes. So we have moved to the organization of the map room, which is holds all of our maps and land use files, property files, building code files, planning board files, really. We're starting to organize that. There is a television in there, a very old television and a DVD player that has not been used in the last couple of years. And I can't see a use for it since everything is pretty digitized now with, doing trainings online, and we do have the site visits for our yearly employee training. So we're just kind of trying to figure out what to do that with that. It's something that the board will probably have to think about as far as that goes. But that's like a big kind of checked box that project that we've been thinking about. So
The library music?
I'm not sure. It's a very old TV. It's not like a flat screen or anything. It's probably about at least 15 years old or so, I think.
We'll come with some recommendations.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's a very big project that is pretty much checked off on our list that we've been, going through for at least the last year. So that's huge for us. And we can locate pretty much everything, or at least have the idea of locating everything that's back there now, where things are. Second, the mayor and I met with Peter Crasher.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yep,
He's
pressure.
the program manager with Intervid, the security vendor recommended through our computer vendors, ADS Solutions. He came and assessed the village hall, the central garage, the well building, fire department, and the water and sewer buildings for security cameras. We spent the good part of Thursday morning talking with him and going around with him to each site. He had a lot of good thoughts and is willing to work with us on pricing. Interbid is also government contracted. And we're going to be probably receiving a proposal from him in the near future.
Right. And I think there was a good point that he thinks that it's more than likely he'll be able to tie in the existing cameras on the fire station by providing another DVR box.
Yes, which will also help us
So
with cost savings as well.
Correct.
Yep.
So
That's good.
Yeah, which is great. And so the other part I just wanted to touch on was there's a little bit more to deal with the Dig Safely training than we were originally anticipating, I think, at least from my perspective. Each person that is planning to receive the certification has to have their own login information for the web portal. The training is also 4 hours long, which we'll probably have to split up into different sections. Right now, I'm working on getting a list together of the people who will be participating in the training, which is going to be the bulk of DPW. And I'm working on getting, their names and their emails so that I can set up their accounts through the Dig Safely web portal, and then we can start setting up the different sessions for the training. I believe this will October seems like a good time to do this, since most of the projects should be done by then, and then it'll be a little bit slower, and hopefully we'll have no snow. So they'll have a little bit more time to play with in October, I hope. And then next week is fall training school, which Jeanette and I will both be attending Tuesday to Thursday. Tracy's going to be in the office for the open hours, and the financial report is ready to review. So,
terrific. And the audit?
I have submitted everything to the audit dashboard, and I sent out an email today just for when they plan to, and haven't heard it back yet, so.
Okay, great. Excellent. Any comments, questions for Crystal? Okay, thank you. I would like a motion to approve the current abstract.
I'll move.
There it goes. Thank you, Mark. Second? Mr. Rumsey, Trustee Rumsey, thank you. Jim, any comments, questions? The only thing I had was the fees that we were paying for tipping, hauling, and that represented a 2-month bill rather than a 1 month, so it was particularly high, so that's fine. So all in favor of approving the abstract and paying the bill, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Cindy Rumsey abstains. All in favor of approving, oh, we said all approving. All right, motion carries, we're paying the bills. Okay. Old business. So we have a few things. As most of you've heard, the past week in the world of COVID and Speculator and Lake Pleasant was a little frightening to people. So in the past week, we had approximately 20 cases of COVID that have been reported. The vast majority of them took place at the state home located on Wilbur Lane. There has been one COVID report since September 11th. So the bulk of those were reported on the 7th of September, where we had 10. On the 8th, we had 2. On the 9th, we had 5. On the 10th, we had 3. September 11th, we had 1, and we have had none since then. So, Lord willing, we're beyond the surge at this point for this particular situation. And of course, our thoughts and prayers are with who are recovering from COVID. Some are sicker than others. So we just think about them. FEMA Halloween emergency storm update. There's nothing to report. We keep asking. It's still under review by various organizations, but hopefully there are two or three big projects are going to get approved and move on. FEMA COVID update, no update. Verizon small cells, gives me great pleasure to say that the antennas are up, things are attached. We are waiting for Verizon to activate them. So I think what they're waiting for is they want to make sure that besides the 2 antennas that we have within down at the pavilion and at SVAC, they're waiting to install a tower, small tower in Lake Pleasant on top of one of their garages. And I think that they were finishing up something, or we're going to make sure it was finalized over at the county building. So soon, so it will have only taken us 2 years to get cell service here. But I'm particularly happy with that. Fire tower, great news. We resubmitted the APA application. It has been accepted for review and it is on the agenda for mid-October. I'm still waiting to find out whether we need a representative for the village to be present at that review. LED streetlights, more good news. Good news is we finally got our rebate check, and
yeah.
I know. So that rebate check is in the amount of $5,730. So big thumbs up with that. And septic system erosion regulations. We have received some commentary back from LPSA members, just in whether LPSA as a formal group was going to support the regulations as proposed. They would like to remain neutral, although individuals have expressed support. So I still, so I was speaking with Katie Smith, and so we're supposed to go through some of her comments. So Mark, perhaps you and I can sit down with her early in the weekend and go through those comments that she had, both as a citizen and as our lawyer. Okay, next exciting thing under new business is NICOM. So there are a couple things going on with NICOM. First is that in the beginning of the month, they had a law that came up, a bill that came up, saying they had a bill that came up and was approved to allow public bodies to once again hold meetings via Zoom, via remotely. And this will be in effect on January 15th. So that's when it's going to expire, January 15th, 2022. In addition, they're continuing moratoriums on municipal tax foreclosures, tax lien sales. That is handled by the county in our regard. The thing that does have an impact on our budget is that the state comptroller has announced that the estimated average employer contributions for the employee retirement system will be lowered from 16.2% to 11.6% of payroll. So this represents a reduction of approximately 28.4% in what we pay. So the estimated average employer contribution for police and fire has nothing to do with us. So that'll be a little boost to our budget. I think we estimated what, about $2,000? $7,000. It looks like $7,000. Okay, so that's NICOM. So some interesting news and good news. Next is a resolution that was put forth and delayed so that we would have a fuller representation from the board. And this is a resolution to appropriate unrestricted fund balance in the general fund to the capital reserves. So this is only for the general fund. And so we are looking to appropriate. Okay, so there's a fund balance right now is that if there is over $150,000 of unrestricted fund balance in the general fund, of which 12,985 unexpended budgeted monies for the fire department. Am I not reading this properly? I am not reading this properly. Why am I not reading this properly? Okay, so we're looking at our unexpended fund balance. We have put aside 2-month operating costs. We have removed anything where there is allocated, and the remaining at our fund balance policy allows us to propose the following. We would appropriate $12,985 to the Capital Reserve Fund to finance Speculator Volunteer Fire Department. This is the balance of their unexpended budget, and we have spoken to them in the past that we would roll that over into a reserve fund for them. Then we're proposing to appropriate $10,000 to the Capital Reserve Fund to finance specific equipment for DPW. And then finally, appropriate $40,000 to the Capital Reserve Fund to finance major capital projects and emergency expenditures for DPW. Are there any questions or comments?
The fire department is for equipment.
Correct. That is correct. Yep. And we still have over the 2 months.
Well over.
Well over the 2 months. So we're at this point, we're allowing, a bigger cushion because we still have 9 months worth of business to conduct within the village. So that gives us a buffer for anything that has come up.
And would that include some of the overtures for gas because the price is higher than we anticipated?
Yes. So the committee met this week. We noted things that are going higher are gas and propane, and we're looking to see if there's any opportunities for savings for pre-buys, at least on propane or oil. And then we're looking at healthcare costs, where some municipalities are saying that their costs will go up 15 to 20%. They are calculating different scenarios for the village, and we'll be meeting with them in the upcoming weeks and presenting that to the board, what the different scenarios are for that. So those are two major things that we've talked about. The third thing is to pay off the sidewalk machine that would be reimbursed by CHIPS. And we should be able to have some information to discuss further at our next meeting at the end of September for that. Okay, any other discussion points on this? Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to accept the resolution to appropriate under funds to the general fund for the various reserve accounts for the specific equipment for DPW and define capital projects and emergency expenditure for DPW.
Second.
And, okay, any further comment, questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay. LoSAP plan update. I sent out for review because there was a timing issue. The LoSAP service award plan document, moving it from a defined contribution to a defined benefit. It has been presented and discussed with the fire department. We have also spoken with all our retired or separated fire department folks who are qualified to receive a benefit. So some of them will receive a multiple year benefit, so their benefit divided into multiple years, and some have opted to take a lump sum for that amount. And then the rest will be rolled over. Within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I am requesting that the finance committee, so Cindy and myself and Crystal, and a representative or two from the fire department. And then I would like to, at the board's request or the board's approval, to ask Mark Crary to join us as well to determine what sort of investment strategy will be applied to LoSAP so that those funds will be grown in a good manner while still being conservative enough to make sure that we can weather the stock market with that regard. The other thing is, this is a 40-year program, so firemen can participate for 40 years, up to 40 years. The payouts begin, you're eligible at 55, and at the age of 55, you have an opportunity to take a lump sum at that time or to have 5 equal distributions. LoSAP is not tax-free, so our firemen are taxed on that amount. If you take it in more than one payment, they do not have to pay state tax on it, which is equivalent to approximately 7% at this time. It is subject to federal. They are able to roll it into an IRA or use it however they wish. There are options for death benefits, so whatever is available in the funds for a fire department person who passes early, there's opportunity for those funds to be transferred to their survivors. And I think that's about it for the big highlights. So Gladfelter Specialty Benefits, VFIS, is in the process of finalizing the summary plan document for additional distribution to the firehouse. I would personally like to thank Bob Peck for explaining some of the details on how funds were transferred from the total from the defined benefit to the defined contribution. There were some questions that he addressed. Okay, next up, we received a letter from Father Sony, and I'm looking for that. Here it is. Okay.
And that was at St. James Church, not St. John's.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I have it down as St. James. Did I say St. John's?
I think you're first drafted on your meeting agenda.
Oh, all right, I'm looking at it now, and I must have fixed something. So St. James. So the letter reads as follows: St. James, St. Anne's Rectory Speculator received a water bill for $541.90 between May 1st and July 31st. We don't know how this happened. Our previous records show that we were paying close to $140. Are you kind enough to adjust this amount to a normal rate? We're sorry for the confusion and inconvenience this has created. Grateful for your understanding and kindness. God bless, Reverend Sony. So as you know, it's a one-time forgiveness. It has been explained to Father Sony that if something happens in the future or in the next quarter, they would be liable for that. There is nothing externally that indicates an increase in water flow, no external leaks that the village is responsible for. Not sure what they have done as far as their due diligence within the St. James, St. Anne's Rectory, but he's been informed of that and they wish to go ahead and ask for a one-time forgiveness. And in this case, it would also, since we had to wait until this meeting to speak together, this would also be a late fee, forgiveness. So I would ask what the board's opinion on this is.
I make a motion to waive the fee and the penalty.
Okay, second? Jim Rumsey is second. Any comments, questions?
Have they had their toilets checked or something?
We have suggested toilets, sinks, all that stuff. My concern is that if they haven't, it's going to be high again. We had a situation with a business in town that had a high rate, and checked for leaks and everything, and there was nothing that could be found. But Ed suggested they turn off all the water, and as it turns out, all the toilets were leaking. So all the water in the back of the holding, all went down overnight, and that's what accounted for the increase. So he's been informed, they've been informed to that, and they're willing to take that chance.
They also did the thing with food coloring that was mentioned on one of the bills once.
Oh,
To put food coloring in the tanks and then see if that gravitates into the bowl.
oh,
And then
interesting.
if it does, then your flapper is leaking
Okay,
and the flapper should be replaced.
right,
And that's another way.
to check.
Yeah, it was in one of Ed's letters to.
Oh, okay. So maybe we can remind him of that. Okay.
What was the overage amount for you, general?
The overage is about $300.
Wow, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. They did have someone extra staying there for part of that quarter, but they said that they didn't think that it would account for that much over.
Should.
Just the water bill. Okay, since they're informed and they have not had one-time forgiveness in the past, I'm looking for a motion to approve what Mark had said to forgive them this and the late fee penalty. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries, and we'll inform Reverend Sony to that effect. Okay, the last part on the, what is it? Oh, that's the other. Okay, that's the APA. Sorry, I have too many things in front of me. The Adirondack Park Local Government Review Board has requested a donation. This is a group that works on different causes within the APA and represents towns and villages in that regard. We have worked with them in the past and have supported them in the past in $100, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about 100,
Yeah.
I think it was 150, and it was a couple of years ago. It was 2019.
Right, so they didn't request any funds it is 150.
Yes.
So they did not request any monies during COVID, but in prior years, we have supported them with $150 per year. So
This is what organization?
this is an organization called the Adirondack Park Local Government Review Board. So they've been advocating for changes in cell tower policy, and that was a policy that was adopted in 2002. So they look at things that are specific for within the Adirondack Park, because many times there's legislation made without thought as to how it impacts us living in the park. Another concern that they take after is the unit management plans that are required for all state lands. So there are some areas that have not had management plans for decades, and it really impairs the ability of towns and villages to have purchases where there's one case. Recently, the APA took up the Jabbar Wild Forest unit management plan. It was purchased in 1979, 41 years without a management plan. There are other purchases that are awaiting the unit management plan. So these areas have been purchased and they're not able to do anything with them. And so they're waiting and waiting instead of allowing things to be developed. Purchases are made by towns and villages, promise jobs for tourism, for economic development, and they just sit. So they really are acting as advocates in helping us do that. So I think they're a pretty good organization. They also attend APA meetings and hearings, and making sure that decisions are made in the best interest of the park. So I would like to have a motion that would have the village support this organization in the amount of $150 for this year. Okay, Cindy, second. Mark, any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I would like to, as my last bit of new business that doesn't entail business, is the fact that we were notified in the beginning of September from the fellow who manages our website, David Barris, that basically hackers from all over the world are trying to access our website, which is a little disturbing. However, security features have been added to the site. There's additional login procedures, but I think it goes to show that it's good that we have websites. It's good that we have security systems that are checked on a regular, ongoing basis that are keeping the village and their information safe. So, all right.
How do we pay him?
In dollars.
Yes.
He has a monthly fee that we pay him. It's like $14.95 a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Monthly deal.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there was expended to set up the website, and then it's $14.95 a month.
For him to monitor our website, which is
what he's doing.
Which is what he's doing, like him seeing that there's all these
Hackers
trying to get in. He then set up two-step verification. So I had to go in and set up my verification for signing in. He also went and changed the login URL, so the website that we go to log in. He changed that to a different sequence. So, that's basically what we pay him for, is to help us do that stuff. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So it's well worth it.
Yeah, it's well worth it when we're not getting hacked, so.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to be held, no village wants to be held hostage.
Right. Right.
So that works well. Okay, anything,
Do
go
you
ahead.
have backup, Crystal, so that if they were to come after us, we still be able to do taxing?
So he just handles our website, but we do have backup, options. We have, ABS Solutions, which is our IT, is we have that, we have cloud storage for all of our emails. And then Williams Law Books, so all of our, processing software for accounting, tax collection, payroll,
Water,
and
wastewater.
sewer. Every time we change anything, every time we're within that system, before we exit the system, we back up both to the cloud, which is housed with Williamson Law Books, with their company, and then we also back up to our computer system.
So to our
hard drive, on my computer. So there is, yes, that's multiple steps. Yeah.
Yep. So all the systems are broken down, so it's not a one-stop hack shop.
Right.
Right.
And all of them are very good. They have very good security.
Right. And they monitor.
Yes, and monitor and.
So they can tell how many times someone is trying to hack, if it's coming from a certain area. I mean, in David's case, he had a list of 20, 30 places from all over the world who were trying to hack little Villages Speculators website. So, yeah, which is kind of scary. Okay, any comments for the board roundtable? Nothing? Okay. Any ending and public comment?
I have a problem with your sewer pump,
Yes.
if the thing, whatever you want to call it, Speculator is not the only place having problems.
Correct.
My son Bobby works for an electrical company out in Indiana, and they service one of the local communities. The handy wipes and stuff like that are really putting
Right.
a strain on all the pumps. We got some pumps here that fit in this room, and he said after a while it just stops.
Yeah, it stops them dead if they're not cleaned out. So we're finding with additional people who are living in the village, visiting the village, our increased tourism, it really is requiring wastewater to clean those out a little more frequently than they have in the past.
One of them outfits that sells some of those wipes, it says right on it that it's flushable.
Yeah, no, yeah, and they're not. So, yeah.
That nylon or something that we working.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're not the only one that has a big problem.
Right. Okay, are there any other yes, Cindy?
I have a question as a citizen. Do you know what's gonna happen, like a timeline for the sidewalk in front of our house and when they're gonna finish the dirt, all that stuff?
Generally, they have to wait for everything to settle for a while, and then they do it. But I can ask Roger to reach out to you, Cindy.
It's all right. I just wanted to make sure it's not gonna get forgotten and we're not gonna sit with these things in front of our house for months on end.
Yeah,
No.
they are also talking about casting new cement for the sidewalk there as well.
There's one other piece that's like super broken. I don't know if they want to do that at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know what the cost with adding another piece would be, but it's really cracked and half of it's fallen down in too. So something to look at if they're going to be out there anyway.
I'll talk to Roger.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
And I did speak with Roger about how long it would take to do the repair of the pavilion bathroom. So the overall costs he thought were about $100, and that he would get back to me on what that schedule looks like. And there are a few other projects that they're doing in the village.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so hearing no further public comment, make a motion to call this meeting to an end. Mark, would you like to do the Letty motion? Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right, so this meeting ends as of 7:46 p.m. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for the public who called.